It's about the original American dream.
It's about the
original American dream.
America is a land of immigrants. Just ask any Native American. Those immigrants started the businesses, built the railroads and telegraph lines, drove the covered wagons over trails that became the nation's highways, fought the wars that made and have kept this country free.
I tried to go so many different schools because I don't have any foundations. But I'm so happy I met Diane, my teacher. She teach me now and how to reading and writing, and we're working on it. And we've been studying together 4 years, and I'm so happy. I'm looking forward to come to class every 1 week, 2 times, because I'm reading much better. And I love to doing that. And hopefully I can read and writing. And that's my goal, and that's my dreams. Thank you for Laubach Literacy.
America is one of the major destinations in the world for those who have the courage and fortitude and are willing to make the sacrifices to get into this country. They are faced with many challenges in this country, and learning to speak American English is still one of the most important skills that new arrivals must acquire in order to function in the mainstream of this country.
As a person that born and raised overseas, I thought that there is going to be just one English language, and I didn't know that American English is going to be absolutely different than British English. My mother tongue is not Latin based, so the English language was totally different than my mother tongue, and no common ground between Farsi or Persian language and English, and especially the American English. Even though I started learning it from my childhood back in my country, when I came here, even though that I've been here since 2001 to 2003, before involved with the Laubach, I barely can communicate with the people. I barely can express what I meant at that time. And you can guess how hard it's going to be for somebody that even doesn't have that background and doesn't know anything about English until came here and wanted to learn English. Because of that, I needed some help, so I started looking for it. And at that moment, I went to the Camero Library, and I met a wonderful person that her name is Barbara Wagner. With her help, I start to communicating, I start to understanding, and I start to talking to the people with the more confidence, or I should say with confidence, and I didn't have it before.
These people of every nation and race have become Americans all, a people still diverse, but sharing common aspirations and drawn together in their common contribution of the skills and talents that have made America a great nation.
I think the most challenging part was, first of all, I did not study English as a student. I was using language as a worker, as a member in a society, so I had to function right. Then there was competition or my own, expectation, how I would like to be perceived or function in the new society. There is that, and definitely there was a lot of gaps. So I had to, as I live in the society, I had to learn, and my English language skill had to get better. But at the same time, I think I was not really too concerned about making mistakes. I was just focusing on communicating with the people so that people understand me, and I'm able to cross my messages clearly to the other party. English language is a local language. It's a crazy language. It has so many exceptions so that you cannot really even guess sometimes. You just have to go with it and learn and accept it instead of arguing about it. Really, one of the very first job in America was a teacher aide in an elementary school in San Fernando Valley. Very interesting experience. No one spoke to me. And the teacher asked me to go outside of the classroom and work with a student one-on-one, with the blonde hair and blue-eyed students. And first it was a very intimidating experience, but I realized I had something to offer and share with them. And then from teaching experience, I went to school because education was important. So I studied, I went after master's degree at CSUN and then became an administrator. And I did not want to leave the classroom, but I wanted to try it so that I don't have something to regret when I'm lying in deathbed. That's how I make decisions. So after I tried administration, I loved what I was doing. So then from assistant principal job, I became a principal. After 4 years of a principalship, now here I am working at district office, and the goal is the same thing, making a difference and bringing equity and fairness to all students so that students can fulfill their potential, whether their language is different, whether their abilities are different. I think the kids can fulfill if we open the doors, if we believe in them. So I may sound funny, I may make mistakes, but that does not weaken who I am. And really, I think you need to know who you are and what you stand up for, and being persistent and focusing on goals. So then, because when you're focusing on goals, what you want to achieve, the rest becomes the tools, not barriers. So you just have to sharpen the tools. And when you're communicating, it's really not about how you sound. It helps if you sound good, but it's still really who you are, ultimately, and the messages. And it's not really what you say. It's how you send out those messages. It might be with grammatical mistakes or accents, but how you are filtering your thoughts and how you're choosing your words and how you are delivering the messages. So it's never barriers. It's how you go about working with those challenges.
For decades, new arrivals could look to ESL programs at adult schools or colleges, but those programs and resources are disappearing as state and federal budgets are cut. As those opportunities diminish, volunteers with Laubach Literacy of Ventura County will continue to support those who are determined to realize their American dream.
I was always involved with a group who worked together, whether it was called a board or not. And so I was a graduate of PTA, so I naturally wanted to get it a little more formal. And so I had a neighbor who was an attorney, and I spent an afternoon with him and his wife, and they said there was no reason I couldn't go ahead and incorporate the group, which I did. And that made it possible to ask for grants to form a lot of businesses and foundations who require that you be incorporated. And I remember so many times that we met not so much as a board, although we had officers, but as a group who needed each other all the time for support. But I remember using my car. The trunk would be boxes full of Laubach materials. People were not able to pay for training, not the people that came most insistently to learn English were doing so because they were going to improve themselves. They needed to, but they couldn't afford to pay for private lessons. So many times we don't understand their background and why things are so difficult for them. But when we stop to think about it, there are so many English words that sound the same, and they get confused, and they don't understand what you're talking about, the kind of difference in just everyday life.
Laubach Literacy of Ventura County volunteers share a few hours a week their patience and talents with another adult who wants to speak, understand, read, and write American English. Training and support, as well as teaching materials, are provided free to the tutor and the learner. But the most unique part of this approach is that the learner and the tutor decide when and where they will work together, often at a library or coffee shop or in their home. And it's always centered on the needs of the learner.
I saw the Laubach Literacy program advertised in the Camarillo Star. So I've always had a passion for language and English, and I thought there might be a nice match or a fix. So I called and I went and had some training with Laubach Literacy, and I really enjoyed the training and the people and also the students that have been assigned to me. I feel they are my heroes, and they have tried so hard. Some of them hold 2 jobs down. They're raising 4 kids, 5 kids. They are wonderful people, and all they want to do is better themselves with speaking better English, understanding our culture, and understanding, if you will, the new country that they have adopted as their own. You can give a lot of yourself, you can give a little of yourself, and I think that it's all appreciated. We have a lot to give, and they are eager and willing participants. I'm very happy to be part of it. There is no end in sight to the students. There's no end in sight to what I have learned as a result of working with my students, and I think it's just a great program. You learn so much about where they came from and what they did overseas, and also what they have contributed here in America.
Every year, thousands of people come to this country seeking the freedom and opportunity to pursue the real, original American dream, to succeed through hard work and determination.
I am an engineer, and a couple years ago I had the opportunity to go to Ukraine to teach English to college students at the university. And it was an immersion course for teaching English, and I was surprised how difficult it was to teach English and also to learn English, obviously. It's not an easy language for people. And I did that, and it was just an enjoyable experience for the month that I was there. And had a great time, had great kids. It was just wonderful. And so when I came back, it was like, okay, this is a great thing. I'm glad I did it, and it's over with. But I happened to be looking at the Ojai paper, and I saw a notice in the Ojai paper saying that Laubach was looking for English teachers. And I said, oh, I'm experienced at that. So I decided, well, I'll check it out. And what happened, they pretty much immediately assigned me a couple students, or one student. And one student was really excited about the learning English. And I met her. She's from Mexico originally, but she's been here a while, but doesn't really know English that well, and wanted some help. And when I went to her house, her and her husband was there, and we were talking, and they said, after I'm all done telling them what we're going to do, they said, well, how much is it? And I said, well, it's free. It's a volunteer program. I enjoyed it. And I get support from the Laubach community for textbooks and the curriculum that you need. Help me with some training, too, that helped my proficiency.
Learning any second language as an adult is not a quick process, so the adult learner and the tutor must be willing to work as hard and as long as it takes.
Laubach Literacy will work with someone who has virtually no English, and I have worked with individuals who have no English at all, and it's a challenge, there's no question about it, but that is one of the places where the Laubach system shines, is for somebody who truly has no English. The Laubach way to English is a way to get started. Over the years now, I've lost track, but I've worked with over 200 individuals. It's kind of interesting to me now, all this time's gone by and I haven't realized that it is more than 20 years. It's like a whole nother lifetime career, and one that I absolutely enjoy. I have never been anywhere. I don't even have a passport. In today's environment, I can't even go to Canada or to Mexico. But I feel as if I've traveled all over the world working with my students. The Laubach Literacy is special because it is an all-volunteer organization. Nobody gets paid except by thank you or, oh, is that what that means? It's just the feeling that you get when someone says thank you, or boy, you were a really big help to me today.
Give the gift of the original American dream. Be a volunteer, a board member, or provide financial support that enables this organization to provide training and to purchase books and study materials. Keep the America of our heritage open to all who have the dream of creating a better life for themselves, their families, their neighborhoods, their newly adopted country, and the world.